There are games that entertain you, games that surprise you, and then there are games that stay with you. Games that crawl into your skin and live rent-free in the back of your mind for months after you finish them. For me, that game is Mouthwashing. No other game from the last few years has lingered quite like Mouthwashing has. It's short, it's barely even 3 hours long, but it has more to say about guilt, responsibility, and the human condition than most AAA blockbusters that cost hundreds of millions of dollars make could ever hope to tell. What's fascinating is that Mouthwashing isn't even a big spectacle. There's no action, there's no open world, no skill tree, you don't fight monsters, you become one. Slowly, subtly, inevitably. It's the kind of experience that makes you uncomfortable not because of what you see, but because of what it forces you to feel. At its core, Mouthwashing is about 5 people trapped in space, but more truthfully, it's about 5 people trapped inside themselves. Each of them embodies a different form of self-destruction: denial, guilt, apathy, ego, and cowardice. The brilliance of the writing isn't in its dialogue or lore dumps, it's in the quiet moments. Those moments where no one says anything, where you're just left in the dark with the hum of a dying ship and the faint sound of someone trying not to cry. This video essay isn't about the plot twists or gameplay mechanics, it's about the people. About how Mouthwashing takes 5 flawed characters and uses them to tell one of the most psychologically devastating stories in gaming history. So let's talk about them, one by one, and how each of their stories peels another layer off this horrifyingly human tragedy. Anya is the medic. She's the quiet, empathetic one. The kind of person who holds everything together when everyone else falls apart. When we first meet Anya, she's checking vitals, organizing supplies, and trying to keep the crew calm after the crash. She's competent, focused, and still clinging to professionalism. And also, as we eventually learn, she's pregnant. But that pregnancy isn't a source of joy or hope. It's a byproduct of trauma. Jimmy, the co-pilot, is the father, a detail that reframes every early interaction you have with him. Anya's story isn't about motherhood, it's about survival in the aftermath of violation. Mouthwashing never sensationalizes it. It presents her trauma the way trauma truly is: quiet, suffocating, and unseen by those who should have cared. Curly, the captain, knows what happened, but says nothing. Swansea and Daisuke learn that something's off and kind of have that feeling, but they don't push. And Anya, left without support, retreats into her own self. As the ship decays, so does she. Her voice messages become shorter, her tone duller. She stops treating wounds and starts drinking mouthwash just like the rest. You can practically feel her slipping away. Her death, an overdose on pills, alone in the medical bay, hits harder because it doesn't come with drama. No screaming, no cinematic fade-out, just stillness. It's a haunting reflection of what happens when empathy is taken for granted. Anya truly tries to save everyone until there's nothing left of herself to save. In a game filled with chaos, her silence is the loudest scream. Anya is the heart that couldn't heal. Swansea is a man defined by a structure. He's the ship's mechanic, the guy who fixes problems literally and figuratively. He's also a recovering alcoholic. That detail seems minor at first, just another bit of character flavor, until you realize what the ship's cargo is. Thousands of bottles of high-alcohol mouthwash. That's when Mouthwashing shows its cruelest joke. Swansea spends most of the early game trying to keep everyone focused. He's the one patching the systems, rationing food, maintaining some sense of order, more so than Jimmy. You almost start to believe he'll make it out alive. But the thing about control is that it's fragile. And the thing about temptation is that it waits. When the stress becomes unbearable, when the radio goes silent, when the oxygen scrubbers fail, Swansea gives in. There's a moment later in the game when you find him slumped against the engine core, half drunk, muttering apologies to no one. The camera lingers on a half-empty bottle of mint mouthwash, glowing under the flicker of emergency lights. It's not played as a shock, it's played as surrender. And that's what's genius about Swansea's arc, is that it's not just about addiction, it's about the illusion of competence. He's the man who thought he could fix everything until he couldn't even fix himself. When Daisuke is gravely injured, Swansea tries to keep the wound using mouthwash as antiseptic. It's all he has. It doesn't work. Infection spreads, the ship smells like antiseptic and rot. Eventually, Swansea kills Daisuke to end his suffering, and it's one of the most gut-wrenching moments in the game. Not because it's violent, but because it's logical. It's that kind of decision that makes sense in hell. By the time you reach the end, Swansea's a ghost. Not physically, not spiritually. His relapse isn't a plot twist, it's a prophecy. He's proof that sometimes the smartest, most disciplined person in the room can also be the most fragile. Every tragedy needs a heart, and Daisuke is that heart. He's the youngest member of the Tulpar, and interns sent him what should have been a routine cargo run. He starts the game full of optimism, calling everyone sir and ma'am, trying to do everything by the book, still believing that following orders means staying safe. He's not in the game much, for the most part, but due to everything I just told you about him trying to follow orders and thinking that that's going to be the best case scenario for him and everyone else, that whole narrative is quickly dismantled by Mouthwashing, piece by piece. He watches Anya unravel, Swansea relapse, Jimmy rage, and Curly deteriorate. His loyalty becomes confusion, his optimism becomes fear. The turning point for Daisuke is when he tries to stop Jimmy from hurting Anya. He's beaten, wounded, and left to bleed out in a corridor. The only thing left that the crew can offer him is mouthwash for cleaning the wound, a painfully symbolic gesture that makes it worse. His decline is slow. You can hear him whispering in logs about how it's fine, and how he'll be back on his feet soon. He's trying to convince himself, not us. When Swansea finally euthanizes him, it's an act of warped mercy. There's no villainy in it, no hatred, it's just a world that's lost all sense of right and wrong. Daisuke's death is the point where the story officially loses its innocence. It's the moment the Tulpar stops being a ship and becomes a coffin for everyone. He's the game's quiet reminder that good intentions mean nothing when the world around you is collapsing and falling apart. In Mouthwashing, even purity can't survive contamination. If every tragedy has a heart, then I'd say most tragedies have a black hole of some sort. And for Mouthwashing, that's Jimmy. Everything. Every death, every downfall, moral collapse, anything. It orbits around Jimmy. He's the co-pilot, the man who crashed the Tulpar, the man who assaulted Anya, the man who manipulated Curly, and the man who lied about it all. Every single detail. But what makes him one of the best written antagonists in modern gaming is that he doesn't see himself as a villain. Jimmy's defining trait is cowardice disguised as confidence. He blames everyone else for his mistakes. The company, Curly, bad luck. He tells himself he's supervisor, a victim, a man trying to keep everyone together. But we as players see the cracks unfold as the game goes on. Throughout the game, Jimmy's mental state decays. He starts talking to the ship's mascot, Polly, as if it's real. He hosts a delusional birthday party with the corpses of his crewmates, singing off-key, laughing through tears. It's grotesque, it's disturbing, It's pathetic and it's horrifyingly human. You want to hate him, and you do, but you also see the psychology behind him. He's not a monster from birth, he's a coward who became a monster through denial. The genius of Mouthwashing is that it doesn't glamorize his downfall, his suicide, putting Curly in cryosleep and shooting himself. It's not redemption, not at all, not by a long shot. It's the final act of a man who refuses to live with what he's done. A man who refuses to take responsibility. He is the embodiment of guilt that chooses oblivion over accountability. And yet, as horrible as he is, his writing is brilliant, because Mouthwashing understands something most stories forget. Evil isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's insecure, sometimes it's terrified, and most times, it's human. Curly, the captain, is the one everyone looks to. The one who does nothing. For most of the game, he's confined to a bed after the crash, paralyzed, mute, decrepit, and disgusting. You might think that that makes him some sort of tragic hero, but the more you learn, the more you realize Curly's been paralyzed long before the crash. Morally paralyzed. He knew about Jimmy's behavior. He heard Anya's unspoken cries for help. He saw the instability growing. He looked away. He told himself it wasn't his place, that it would all work itself out. That's the brilliance of Curly's character. He's not evil, he's just complicit. He represents every person who could stop a disaster but doesn't because it's inconvenient. His passivity is that oil that keeps the engine of destruction running. Even after the crash, when Jimmy becomes openly erratic, Curly's silence feeds the chaos. Whether out of guilt or cowardice, he becomes the perfect victim, the one Jimmy can project his hatred onto. In the end, when Jimmy puts Curly into cryosleep, it's framed like an act of mercy, but really, it's irony. Curly's fate is to live forever in suspended helplessness, just like he lived before the crash. He's alive, but he'll never wake up, just as he never really acted out when it mattered. Curly's story is a tragic mirror to Jimmy's one, destroyed by action, the other by inaction. Together, they prove Mouthwashing's central thesis, that guilt comes in many forms, and silence can be just as deadly as sin. By the time the credits roll, everyone on the Tulpar is either dead, gone, or frozen. The ship drifts endlessly, the cargo of mouthwash is still sealed, clean on the outside but toxic within. And that's the perfect metaphor for the game itself, isn't it? Mouthwashing isn't about survival. It's about what happens when survival becomes meaningless. It's about addiction, denial, and the quiet, corrosive power of guilt. Each character represents a different kind of rot. Anya's compassion turns into despair. Swansea's control turns into dependence. Daisuke's innocence turns into futility. Jimmy's pride turns into destruction, and Curly's silence turns to complicity. Together they form this mosaic of failure, not as individuals, but as a system, a crew, a society. The mouthwash cargo becomes the ultimate form of irony, a product meant to cleanse that instead poisons, a metaphor for every coping mechanism we use to numb pain instead of facing it. The brilliance of Mouthwashing is that it never lets you look away. It doesn't offer you hope, it doesn't offer you comfort or some sort of good ending. It simply sits with you. It sits you down and asks, what would you have done? Would you have spoken up? Would you have stayed sober? Would you have truly cared? It's rare for a game to hold up a mirror that unforgivably. And maybe that's why Mouthwashing sticks with me. Not as a game, but as an experience. When I think of it, I don't remember the mechanics or those puzzles. I remember Anya's voice cracking, Swansea's troubling hands, Daisuke's quiet demeanor, Jimmy's hysterical laughter, Curly's motionless eyes staring into nothing. No other game in years has made me feel that heavy sense of recognition, that maybe under the right conditions, any of us could end up like them. Mouthwashing doesn't scare you. It exposes you. And that's what makes it a haunting masterpiece.
Hey guys, Born Studios here. Thank you so much for watching this mouthwashing video essay I've been working on. I tried to get it edited and all done before Halloween, and it looks like I have officially completed that task. I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching, and please, 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 I'm going to leave a link to the game in the description below. Please go play the game. It is incredible. It is, without a doubt, something that has stuck with me ever since I learned about it a year ago. I learned about it actually from an old friend of mine who we basically just talked at work about how great the game was, and they opened up my mind to all sorts of different types of outlooks and helped me catch things I didn't see the first time around. And it was just an amazing experience to get to learn about this game from them and just to have it held so dear to me. I do want to make it clear that I don't know if it sounded like I was basically glorifying some of the characters in this game, because some of these characters are just horrible people. Like Jimmy and Curly, I do not want to say what anything they did was anything good, because they're all just horrible people, but they're very well-written characters. You can have a well-written character be an asshole and be just so terrifying and human. But anyway, I also want to say that I had a cold while narrating this video, so if I sounded off, that's why. But nevertheless, I hope you guys were able to enjoy. Please, 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 I'm gonna leave a link to the game in the description below. Go buy it. Give Wrong Organ, the developer of this game, please give them every penny you have. They are a little indie video game company. They are just so great and amazing. Go support them. I will leave a link to all the music used from the video. It's actually all mouthwashing soundtrack, so I'm going to leave a link to all that in the description. I own no rights. I own no rights to the music. It's all just for this video essay and all in good fun. So thank you guys so much for watching, and please go play the game. Happy Halloween. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.